अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 6, verse number 37-38. We are reading liberation of Putana. So we read that Krishna, he killed Putana by sucking her life hair, and then Putana came to her own original form and flew into the sky, and then fell and destroyed trees. Then Brajvasis, they cut her body into pieces and burnt, which was very fragrant. And then after that, in the last two slokas, Sri Sukadeva Goswami describes the greatness of Sri Krishna, that Putana, each word he, in the commentary we saw the Kaimutya Nyaya, that she is a Rakshasi, and Lok Balagni, Rudhirashana, and Jughansayap, Hare Satanam Stanam Dattva Sadgatim. With all these disqualifications, she attained Sadgati, liberation. And then what can be said in contrast to the mothers or the cows who give their milk out of love and devotion to him? So he is continuing to speak in the same vein about the great compassion, kripa of Sri Krishna. So any question on what we have read before we begin? So padbhyam bhakta hridisthabhyam vandyabhyam loka vanditai angam yasyaha samakramya bhagavanapi vatstanam yatu dhanyapi sa swargam avapa janani gatim krishna bhukta kshiraha kimunga vonu mataraha. So it says that the feet of Sri Krishna, they are situated in the heart of his devotees. Padbhyam bhakta hridisthabhyam. And these feet are worshipped by great personalities who are worshipable to the people of this world. Loka vanditai vandyabhyam means the great personalities, the devas who are worshipped by people of this world. They worship the feet of Sri Krishna, and these very feet are in the heart of the devotees. But with those feet, he was on the breast of Putana. So how great is he? Angam yasyaha samakramya bhagwan api vatstanam. So by those very feet, he was on her chest, her breast, and by pressing her stanam, samakramya bhagwan api vat. He drank. What he drank is not written there. Whether he drank milk or he drank life air, or it says stanam samakramya bhagwan api vat. Or angam samakramya stanam api vat can be applied both. Means pressing her body with his feet, he suckled on the breast of Putana. And yatu dhani api sa swargam avap jananim gatim. So although she is yatu dhani, it's a class of Rakshashi, she attained Swarga, and there also she attained the position of Janani, like a mother. Why is that? Krishna Bhukta Stanakshira, because Krishna Bhukta Stanakshira, Krishna has drank her milk or the breast. Then what to speak of Gavo Anumatra, the cows and mothers whose milk he drank from their breast. So what can be said about them? So here this word Swarga, which is popularly understood as heaven in this material world, it means Vaikuntha. Satram Sargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samamasata. In the first chapter of Bhagavatam it is said Namisha Nimsha Kshetri Rishya Sonakadaya Satram Sargaya Lokaya Sahasram Samamasata. The rishis headed by Sonaka, they assembled in Namish Kshetra, Namisharanya, and performed a Satra, a yaga for extended period, Swargaya. So there it is said that they did it to attain Swarga. So naturally they were not doing it to attain heaven, because later on when you read, then you can understand that it was not their destination. So there also Swarga means Vaikuntha. So Svair Giyate iti Swarga, that which is worshipped even by the people of heaven is called Swarga. So same word is used here also. That she attained Swargam Avapa. So some people also explain it differently. Sa Swargam Avapa, Sa Aswargam Avapa. She went to hell. I think that's how Madhvacharya explains this, if I'm not wrong. So because you can break the sandhi like that. So Bhagavato निष्कारण का कृपा प्रापितम पूतनाया सौभाग्यम तावत पश्येत्या. So it is as if she is saying that Bhagavato niskarana ka kripa prapita Putana. That Putana, who has attained the kripa of Bhagavan niskarana, she did not do anything to attain that kripa. So that shows that how his kripa is causeless. It is not based on any karma. Niskaranaka kripa prapitam putanaya svabhagyam. So her great fortune is being described here. Tavat pasya, just see that. Padbhyam iti dvabhyam, the two slokas beginning with padbhyam. Bhakta hridisthabhyam iti, that how are his feet, they are situated in the heart of the devotees. Putana na bhakta na piya bhakta. Putana was not a bhakta, so she could not have the feet of Krishna in her heart. She was also not abhakta. Abhakta here means neutral person. Tatastha. Neither devotee nor enemy. Kintu tasya vairini iti bhava. Because there are so many people who are non-devotees and they are not against God. So she was not like that. She was against him, very, because she came to kill him. Jagam se api stanam dattva aap sadgatim. So loka vanditai brahma rudradi bhirapi. And these are the feet which are worshipped by those who are worshipable to the people of this world, such as Brahma and Shiva. So Brahma, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, and Shiva also. So they worship his feet, which means that they don't have the opportunity to get his feet and touch his feet or put their head on his feet. They don't get this opportunity. They can only meditate, worship. So those feet were physically touched by Putana's body. So vandabhyam iti putanaya tu padau na vanditau na piya vanditau. So Putanaya tu padau na vanditau na piya vanditau. But Putana, she did not worship Krishna's feet. These feet which are worshipped by Lok Vanditai, Brahma, Shiva, etc., feet which are in the heart of the devotee's heart, and in the devotee's heart, they were not worshipped by Putana. She did not come to worship his feet. And they are not avandita, they are not worshipped, but rather she came to kill. Kintu marana samaye स्वहृदयात् सकाशात् निष्काशयितुं यत मानयापि अशक्नुवत्या स्वपाणिभ्याम यावत् बलम ताडिताउ एवेति भाव. But when she was about to die, she was trying to remove Krishna from her chest. So she was trying to push away the feet of Krishna. Means she was neither worshipping his feet nor was she neutral, but she wanted to kick away the feet, and she used all her power to push him away. That Putana, who was trying to push away his feet with full strength. So, and she was not able to do that. Yavat balam taditave, and therefore with full strength she was beating. So those feet which are worshipped by the devotees and which are worshipped by great personalities like Brahma and Shiva, those feet she was trying to beat with full force, and yet she got this place. So this is the contrast which is being shown in this verse. So samyag akramyena tu yatha kachanti sprishtva, and angam yasya samakramya. So it is not that Krishna just touched her body, like sometimes you touch somebody, bless, so you put your hand on somebody like that, not like that. But he was actually walking on her. Means he pressed her body with his feet. So angam yasya samakramya bhagavana pipatstam. So yatha kathanchid asprishtva, not yatha kathanchid. Not that somehow he just touched, no. So then he comments on the word swarga. So yatu dhani api sa swargam avape. And then she was yatu dhani, and she attained the position in Vaikuntha. So swargam brahmadeyo lokpala survasam me abhikankshinai, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna himself uses the word swarvasam, that even Brahma etc., lokpalas, they want residence in my Vaikuntha. Me abhikankshinai, me swarvasam. Itivat. And Putanapi sakula tvameva devapita. And then Brahma also speaks in 10th canto. Esam ghosh nivasitam bhavan utkim devarate tina. So, phalam visvaphalam tadaparam naapyaku kutrapi apyan muhiyati sadve sadive putana vishakla tvameva devapita. So he says that in this place he says that Putana attained you. So obviously Tvameva apita attained you means she did not go to this Swarga. So from this statement of Brahma also it is understood that the word Swarga here does not mean heaven, because he is saying that Putana attained you, means your abode. So therefore it says iti brahmokte vaikunthameva. So from the statement of Brahma, the word Swarga here means Vaikuntha. Natu naswaram swargam. And it does not mean this Swarga which is perishable place and within this material world. Tamapi kidrisham, and in Vaikuntha also what kind of position she attained there? So Jananyaha, Janani Gatim, the place of a mother. Jananyaha Shri Yashodaha ya Prakasha Bhedena Gatir Yatra. So in some other Prakasha she attained this position. Tamiti Shri Golokameva Tasyaiha Swargapadena Uktya Sukhashwaryottaram Salokyam Avapa न तो प्रेम सेवोत्तरम इति बुध्यते. So therefore she attained Goloka and not Gokula. So although the word Goloka and Gokula, they are used interchangeably, but we read in Krishna Sandarbha that Goloka is more for the opulent part of Gokula. So that which is described in Brahma Samhita. Therefore Lakshmi Sahasrasat Sambhram Sevyamanam. The word Lakshmi is used there for gopis to indicate Aishwarya. So therefore it is said, he says that he got the position, she got the position which is Aishwarya Uttara, which is more in opulence, and she got the mukti called Salokya. Sukhashwarya Uttaram Salokya Mavapa, na to Prem Sevotram, but she did not get the position to do service with love like Yashoda. So just like Devaki is also mother, but Devaki did not get position or opportunity to do service to Krishna as a mother, right? So like that. But Yashoda, she is Prem Sevottara. She got the service in love, Prem Seva. So this is the difference. So this should be understood. Jan? Yeah.
Just to clarify, so he's saying that Putana reached Goloka, which he is saying here is where there is a distinct Prakash of Yashoda. And there she got this Salokya Mukti, not the Prem Seva. And just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Jananya Sambandhini Gatim tu na Vyakhyam. So it says that this word Janani Gatim, it should not be explained as that a destination which is in relation to Janani. Janani means mother. She got the position of mother, Janani Gati only, not something related to Janani, but not like Yashoda. Why? Because here itself it is said that Kimu Gavo no Matara. Then what to speak of cows and mothers? Obviously there is a distinction. The word Janani Gatim and Matara or Anumatara is used. So this is to make a distinction between their position.
I wanted to ask that if she's just got a position of a mother, then what services does she do there? She just has a name, as a tag as a mother, or she does other things also?
She is there, but
Because she didn't have the Vatsalya Bhav in her, so I'm wondering what services she's doing there. She's assisting Yashoda Maya, or
yeah, she could be assisting also. But just like Devaki, as I gave the example of Devaki is also mother, but she did not get the chance to do service. Like later on Krishna lived, but now he is grown up. So that childhood Vatsalya, that is the meaning of Aishwarya. Because when Aishwarya is there, then we have servants, so they do. Like you see how in the houses they don't cook themselves, right? So then if their children are there, they are not eating food cooked by the mother. But here we see that Yashoda herself is doing even churning yogurt, feeding him. So that is the difference. That is the difference in Aishwarya. When Aishwarya is there, then you have many people to help. So that is also one type of pleasure in Aishwarya. And when you do it yourself, that is another type of pleasure. So therefore in rich families, then either you eat outside, there is people who have kitchen which cost like 100,000 euros, the kitchen itself, but they never cook. They always eat outside. Kitchen is for showing big, how beautiful, nice kitchen we have. Everything but no cooking. So this is Aishwarya. And then you have simple 2 bricks and wood, and you're cooking and eating right there. So that is prem. So that is the difference he is making here. Because he wants to make this kamutya, basically. Because he says janani gatim and then he says kimu gavo anumatra. So because the word kimu has been used in, then what to speak of? And that's contrast, then you have to make some difference in the meaning also. So therefore it says that jananyaha sambandhinim gatimiti tu na vyakhyam. Raktastan mataro yatha iti purvatra, because earlier also in previous sloka it says yachan priyam tamam kinnu raktastan mataro yatha. That if she attained sadgati, then what to speak of the mothers who had so much love for him. So again the contrast is being given there. And there the word only sadgati is used, which means he got liberated. So he is keeping that also in mind to give this explanation. So Krishna bhukta stana kshira kimu gavo nu matra iti uttratra cha tata sakashat tan matrinam api anyasam api adhikya pratipadanat. So it says in the last line of the second sloka, that is verse number 38, there is a distinction which is being made between Putana and these others. And distinction is that they are superior, these gopis like Yashoda and other who are having the feeling of mother towards Krishna. Their love, their position is superior. Anyasamapi adhikya pratipadana. That is the significance of this last line. Vairitvena kansadi samye api yasya vesha bhava anukarana karanad eva etavat kripa patri babhuva. So now he makes, people are now saying, what is the importance of dress? This is a big movement now going on. Krishna West. They are against putting Indian dress. They are not neutral. They are against it. That this is Indian. This has nothing to do with Krishna and it's not necessary. So now he makes a very important point here. He says that Vairitvena kamsadi samyapi, that as far as enmity is concerned, then Putana, Kamsa and these other asura, Jaghasura, Bakasura, they are all same. There is no difference. They are all enemies. No difference. But Putana is distinct because Vesa Bhava Anukarana Karanadev. That she has two distinctions from other asuras like Bakasura, Ghasura, etc. That number one, she dressed like a gopi. And number two, she imitated the bhava of the gopis. Right? She imitated. She was trying to feed him and acted like a gopi. So the other asuras did not do that. They did not dress up like a devotee and they did not imitate the mood of a devotee. So because of these two things, she got this type of kripa. So this is significant. That how even this has an importance. Otherwise she is equal with everyone else. So why she got such a distinct position and not others? So Putana tasyaha Sri Yashodayaha gatim praptum yogyatam sa katham dhattam iti ateva lebhe gatim dhatri muchitam iti uddhavena uktam ateva atrapi janani shabdena dhatriya vyakhye iti kechit. So now some people raise an objection that Putana tasya Sri Yashodaya gatim praptum yogatam sa katham dhattam. That how is it possible that Putana got such a position? She had no qualification like Yashoda. Because Janani he means Yashoda. Janani gatim means Yashoda gatim. Yashodaya gatim. Tasya Sri Yashodaya gatim praptum yogatam sa katham dhattam. She did not have any, she has no possibility of having such qualification. So then, iti atayeva, therefore some people they explain like this, that lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam, as Uddhava said. That Putana, she attained position which is equal to a dhatri, like a maid who takes care of children. So iti uddhavena uktam ateva atrapi janani shabdena dhatriya vyakhya. So they say that here also the word janani does not mean Yashoda. Because janani is Yashoda. But janani here means dhatri, maid. Why? Because of two reasons. Number one, Putana did not have any such qualification. Number two, Uddhava has used the word dhatri. Dhatri uchitam. Also he did not just use the word dhatri, but position which is appropriate to a maid. So that's how some explain. Tatrapi dhatri uchita iti shabdena dhatri sambandhini gatir na labhyate. And but there also he says that dhatri uchitam, which is proper or appropriate to a maid, should not be explained that which is in relationship to a maid. Just like here also he said not, which is janani gati does not mean related to a janani or mother. So Maharaja uchita sampadasya iti ukte Maharaj tulya eva sampat pratiyate. Just like he said that this person has got wealth like a king. So what does it mean? That he has got wealth equal to a king. So therefore dhatri uchita means position equal to maid. Uchita here means equal. Uchita is generally used proper, appropriate, like that, but here it means equal to, as Maharaj Uchita Sampadasya ityukta. Natu Maharaj Sambandhaniti. So this is common statement, Maharaj Uchita Sampadamasya or Sampadasya. So there we do not say that he has wealth related to a king. You say he has wealth equal to a king. So here also Dhatri Uchitam, we don't say yes, he got position related to a maid, but equal to a maid. So Tasmat Sukha Ashwarya Uttare Goloke Dhatri Sarupyam Putana Prapayati Siddhanta. So therefore the conclusion is that she attained position in Goloka and she got Dhatri Sarupyam. She got a form like a maid, means a gopi form, but as a maid, but in Goloka. So, which is predominated by Sukha, happiness, Ashwarya. Sukha, Ashwarya, not Prem, Seva. So that is the Siddhanta, that is the understanding here.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is interesting, these two arguments which distinguish Pudana from other asuras, that she had the salvation and that she had the bhava. She imitated it. So could this not be used as an argument which is would support some kind of sahaja position, that one can just imitate from outside and then ultimately one attains the power instead of from inside out?
Then this is what I answered earlier, because here in the sloka itself it is said that Kumu Gavo Numatara, that if she attained like this, then what to speak of the cows and mothers. So that means the stress here is in making this statement and not saying that you should do something like this. The statement, just like they say that if you die in Vrindavan, then you attain Goloka. So the idea is not that you die here, but you live. Not that you got corona, you're dying, let's go to Vrindavan. Right? Then we should open corona hospitals here. Let people go for Goloka. No, that is not. That's in the meaning of Kamutya. That if this is possible, that by imitation she got it, because it is not guaranteed for you or Sahajiyas that it will happen. This is a special kripa because she happened to meet Krishna directly. But this will not happen to others. So that's why the other meaning has to be taken, that you should think how wonderful it is to be a devotee. Anything else?
I have a question, Babaji. This is initially Salokya Avapa, and then also there is a Sarupya. So he's referring to both basically. So is this possible in that sense?
Yeah, what is the problem? You live in the same loka, Saluk, just like Yashoda also has Salukya, and she has Samipya, right?
So you can have more than one vibration or whatever you call it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, those who are associates of, say, Vishnu or Krishna, then they have Samipya, they have Sarupya, they have Salokya, they have Sarshti also. They also have Ashwarya like him. So what is remaining? So everything is there. Yes.
We said that Putana had done some bhakti in previous lives which allowed her to enter Vrindavan and die at Krishna's hands.
No, it is said that in the previous life she was daughter of Bali Maharaj. This is described, I think, in Vishnu Purana. And when Vamandev came, then she immediately liked him because he was so cute. Like this, oh, what a cute boy. So Vamandev was small in size, and small is beautiful, right? That's why babies are beautiful. Once they grow up, they become ugly. So he was a cute little boy, and when she saw him coming with this umbrella and that kamandalu, she was immediately attracted to him, spontaneously, naturally. It was just not aropita, not imposed. She had a natural attraction towards Vamandev, and she thought that I would like to have him my son. But later on, when he became ugly, when Vaman became Trivikram, like Trimatra tu Mahapurusha, he actually not only became Trivikram, he became Mahapurusha. So then she thought that, I felt I would like to have him as my son and feed my breast, but now I will feed my breast with poison. Because he bound Bali Maharaj. Obviously the father of, her name was Vindhyavali. I think. Vindhyavali was wife? And she also had something named like that. So anyways, then she thought like that. So therefore she did both things here, that she came and dressed and did the Bhavanukaran. But then Krishna accepted. So Krishna satisfied both. But the first he gave eternal position, which is good, and the second temporary. So he fulfilled both the wishes. That she gave poison also, and she also became mother. So that is the story.
Yeah, I also have one question on this. So basically, this character, you can also apply it in the sense that earlier we have done in the Mahabharata war, just because people feel seeing Krishna, so they attained liberation. And now these other asuras, if they are being killed in Krishna's hands, Vyakhya of this shloka, so was said that she was touched by Krishna's feet and she held on to the feet. So similarly, when other asuras are also being killed, they are being touched by Krishna, and so if one can attain the liberation just by seeing him while dying, so then what to speak of someone who has been touched? So what will be the difference between just seeing dying and then personally being killed by him?
What is the difference? What is the difference? I didn't get that. Last sentence I could not hear properly. What is the difference between?
Meaning, what kind of would it be little better than the liberation? These people who are just seeing and dying, they are getting liberated. So now we did in the Vyakhya that because Putna had two separate qualities of Vesh Anukaran and Bhav Anukaran and Vesh, Samvesha. So she got like Rahakani. So asuras which are killed personally by his hands, like Agasur, Karsur and all these people. So what better than liberation they would attain?
Yeah, they will get Salokya. They will not get position like Putana, which she also got Samipya, proximity. They will not get that.
Ratnamala.
Ratnamala, yes.
In, So their liberation is not Salukya. Their liberation will not be Salukya.
No, I'm saying they will get Salokya, but in Salokya there is a variety. Everybody who is in Vaikuntha or in Goloka, they all have Salokya. Because they are in the same loka. Salokya means being in the same loka. But then there is a difference in the intimacy. Right? Some who are more intimate means they have more prema and others have less prema. So although from Salokya point of view they are equal, but then there is a distinction from the point of view of intensity of prema they have towards Krishna. So that will be different. That's what he's trying to say. Otherwise you will say, well, what is the difference between devotees and asuras then? They all get the mukti. Well, this is what he's saying, that still there is a distinction. Mukti is not just one type. Mukti also there is various variety in that. So that's what he's trying to show. Because
I'm wondering that in this lifetime as Putana, she has the mentality of Krishna being an enemy who's fit to be killed.
mm-hmm.
And she comes to kill him, and then he kills her. And by, like ordinary action movies and stuff, when there's like some, feud between groups, and then I try to kill you and then you kill me, then if I get killed by you, I don't, after I die, now suddenly love you and want to eternally serve you. You just killed me. I might even want to take revenge on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see, or maybe I missed it, anywhere where it describes specifically how she had a change of heart, or now, having gone through this experience of being killed, she now wants to and will be happy to eternally serve Krishna and reside in his abode and so on and so forth. And sorry to go on long, but one last point was, a previous question came up about why she wasn't just melted to see Krishna's beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And you explained that she has no bhav for that. She hasn't, so where did that come in?
Shift happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this Jiva Goswami explained this in Krishna Sandarbha when he was talking about this Hiranyakashipu, the Shishupal story, if you remember, from 7th canto. And especially he cited a prose text from Vishnu Purana, where it is said that when Krishna threw his Sudarshan Chakra, so then that Sudarshan Chakra took away the impurity, and then only they saw Krishna as he is. Before that they were not able to see, because they were covered by enmity, that dvesha. So then that was removed, and then they could see, and then they become liberated. So that's where the shift happened, and it is described there with a prose text from Vishnu Purana, if you remember. So similarly here also you can understand that now here personally Krishna himself is there, and Krishna is not using any weapons here, because here it is his Narlila. So when he kills like that, then first he removes the impurity, because he is all purifying. And then when he removes, then they see the beauty, because Atma is pure and all these impurities are external. All this dvesh bhav is not within Atma. So Atma is a natural part, right? So mamai vanso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. But now because we are covered, ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantav yesham tu tad ajnanam nashitam atmana. So when that ajnana is removed, then you immediately become attracted. So it would be natural for such a person to be immediately fascinated by Krishna's beauty. So that's what he does. So killing is obviously, what is killing? There is no killing. Killing simply means change of body, what we call as death. So here also he is changing the body, but he is also changing the subtle body, which doesn't happen in normal death. In normal death, you give up your gross physical body, and your subtle body goes, and accordingly you get the next gross physical body. But here now, when Krishna is removing the Atma from the physical body, he is also taking it from the subtle body. So that's why he gives, because mukti hitva anyatha rupam sarupena vyavasthiti. So that anyatha rupa is gross, subtle body, primarily subtle body, because subtle body is that which continues for the whole existence, for the whole lifespan of Brahma, until you merge back, and then again next cycle you come out. So that's what he does, and that's where the shift happens. So that is the meaning, that Jighan se api aap sadgatim. So she attained. And again the important thing is that she attained it. It was not already there. That sadgati. Sadgati aapa. So which means it was given to her. Second, she doesn't have the power to attain it by herself. So then Krishna gave it. That is his wish. That is his namedveshvasti na priya. Samoham sarvabhutesu. I am equal to all. He does not consider these asuras as his enemy, as we would be considering. Because they are all his, part of his creation, or part of his, whatever the word creation has another meaning, but part of his sampatti, his wealth. So that shows his nature also, that he is really sama. So he is beyond karma. So this is what Jiva Goswami was trying to explain, that because this question was asked that Shishupal was abusive, he was giving so much abuse to Krishna, so why he did not go to hell? So that would be by law of karma. But he said that Krishna is beyond that. It's not applicable. He is not influenced by that. So by that, of course, some people ask this question, that we talk about this offense, right? Offense to Krishna, offense to deity. So how can you offend him? If he is a transcendental person, then how can you offend him? And if we can offend him, then he is always disturbed, because somewhere or the other somebody is always committing some aparadha. So this is from our point of view. It's not that he is upset or he is being influenced by our material actions. Meaning is that if our bhav is like this, we cannot be with him. If we have an unfavorable mood, which is aparadha, that's what offense means. So then we cannot expect to be with him. So therefore that is itself is a block. Because that action which we are doing, which is unfavorable, is going to bring another reaction, which will be an unfavorable situation. The offense will lead you to another unfavorable situation. And then when you are in an unfavorable situation, then you will commit more offense, means you will again act unfavorably. Right? So Daksha, he was upset with Shiva. Then he was again born as Daksha. Then he was angry at Narada Muni. Why? Because this was his conditioning from the previous life samskara, to be unfavorable to devotee. So it continues like that. So that's why it remains cycle unless we consciously make an effort to get rid of it. Nam aparad prayuktasya namaniyeva harantyagam. So then you have to do nam. But if you don't do that, then it will continue. Unless then some external force comes like Krishna and he says, let's stop it. So that is, of course, don't have any hope on that. So all this description is therefore again in this Kamutya understanding that if he is so great, then he is the person we want to be with. Because in this material world, we have friends, right? We have relatives. But friends and relatives, they all cause trouble to you. Because they are also human beings who are conditioned and they have got this conditioning of Dvesha very much. Now that is another thing that we may neglect that or we may not see this. But this is very much there. So therefore in these human relations always some problem comes. Whether they are your children, whether they are your partners or parents or siblings. Always, right? Coming or yes or no? You are saying, So this problem, why it comes like this? So now imagine that you are with a person who is actually free from this condition, who is just all good. So would we not like to be with such people? Here because we don't have any choice, so marta kya na karta. So we keep on trying these troublesome relations because there is no choice. And we continue suffering, but we try to avoid it. We try to not look at it. No, it's not really not like that. Because if we don't do that, then we will become completely lonely without any relations. We will become crazy. So what is being shown here is some relation which actually is worth having. That look here, Putna Loka Balagni. So Rakshashi Rudhrasana. So Jighamsayapi Harestanam Dattva Sadgati. So see the beauty and the contrast in the character of Putna and Krishna on the other side. So if this can enter in our head, which is difficult to enter, then we want to be devotee of Krishna. Then we lose interest in it. So this is what is being described here in Bhagavatam. When Bhagavatam says, Dharma projhita kaitu atra parmo nirmat saranam satam. That this param dharma, which is the dharma of nirmatsara. So what is the dharma of nirmatsara mean? They are not matsarya, they don't have matsarya, they don't have enmity, they don't have dvesha. Their character is being described here. That is projhit kaitav. That is free from deception. So that is what is being described here. But because we don't have taste for it, our taste, just like if you get addicted to drinking or tea or coffee or something, smoking, then you develop a taste for that. Then other thing does not like good to you. People who eat meat 3 times a day, you give them gulab jamun, hey, kya yaar? They don't like it. They don't have taste for it. So like that, we don't have taste for non-deceptive relationship. Our taste is only for deceptive relations. So therefore this non-deception talk, non-deceptive relationships, they don't appeal very much to our heart. See, our conditioning. So that's why we have to hear it again. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Therefore we have to hear it repeatedly. So Rasri Avat Jate Silpar Padat Nisan. Karat Karat Abhyas Ke Jadmati Hot Sojam. So by practice again and again, Vishnu Dasa Vishnu Padante Hari Ghosa Chahari Gada, Vishnu Dasa Vishnu Padante Hari Ghosa Chahari Gada. So one day the sutra actually enters into your head. So that's why we have to repeat it. Hear it again and again and again. Then gradually it starts making sense to us. And even when it will make sense to us, then after some time, like a stretched rubber, we again come back to the same rotten relationship. Same things appeal to us. So much. This is what we have to do. This is the only remedy. Okay, anything else?
So I was thinking about Kaliya, because Krishna basically he has killed all the enmity, all the demons in different ways, and then according to their bhav, he has given either impersonal liberation, or now with Putana she's accepted in Gokula, in Goloka, sorry. So now this Kaliya, he was also very causing a lot of trouble, no, to Krishna, and his poisoning.
Yeah, but he did not come to kill him.
No, but
like other asuras.
Yeah, my question is that.
But if you jump into his domain, then what can he do? That's his nature.
But he was not killed by Krishna, no? He purified.
Yeah, because he did not come like other asuras. Somebody becomes a cow, somebody becomes a bull, somebody becomes something. He was a Kaliya, you know. He remained Kaliya.
He remained Kaliya.
But if you go and jump on him, then that is his nature. He will bite you. So what is his mistake?
Okay.
Okay, let's stop.